Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to Subnautica. Some years back, if you've been watching YouTube for any period of time, you've probably heard of this title at some point or another. Mainly for me, I saw this game back when Jacksepticeye put out his very first video on it, and I've loved the game to bits ever since. When the full release finally came out, all I could think about was being able to watch the next episode in the series and find out what happened with this storyline. Which is kind of the reason I'm putting this video together now. This game, Jack's wild and zany humor, and my insatiable need for approval has all come into this very moment and makes me so excited to be able to share this with you. This right here is the very reason I wanted to start a YouTube channel in the first place. So, without further delay, let's dive right in. To begin this journey, we find ourselves having escaped in a life pod and getting knocked out in our escape. As we wake moments later, we are immediately thrown into action, seeing as our life pod has actually been set ablaze. After grabbing the fire extinguisher and putting out the fire, we can focus on getting our bearings on this new planet. Looking at the life pod, we can see it's in shambles at the moment and needs repairs to become fully functional again. So, without hesitation, we climb the ladder out the top of the pod and waste no time diving into the thick of it. I immediately start finding materials for crafting, grabbing any salvage I can get my hands on and busting open any limestone chunks I can find, hoping they have copper inside of them. I also make it a point to venture a little further out and grab some creep vine clusters, and shortly after, make my way back to the life pod to get crafting. Once I've made it back to, I'm tired of saying life pod already, so let's just call him Larry. Yeah, life pod Larry, I like it. Once I make it back to Larry, I start crafting the basics to increase my chances of survival out here. With everything I gathered up, I was able to craft a set of fins to increase my swim speed, a standard O2 tank to take my oxygen capacity from 45 seconds to 75 seconds, a scanner, which is crucial to our progression, and a knife. What, you thought the knife was special? It's just a knife. With our newfound belongings and a hope that could rival the world, we set out for bigger and better. If we're going to get off this water-soaked rock, It isn't very long after leaving the pod, I start putting the scanner to work, getting the blueprint for the beacon and a grav trap. And still keeping my eyes peeled though, I'm on the search for the sea glide. That's going to allow us to swim even further out and deeper than was possible just a few minutes ago. In my search for more fragments, I kinda became a menace for a little bit. I found some floaters just bobbing at the top of the water and decided to pick them up for whatever reason. Apparently, that reason was to trap this Gary fish and see how many it would take to get him to float to the top. Does this seem like cruel and unusual punishment? It's probably best not to think about it too much. After I've had my fun, I was able to find the first fragment to the mobile vehicle bay, the crafting interface that allows us to craft the sea moth, the cyclops, and most importantly, the prawn suit. It's not much longer after that I'm able to find the second fragment to the mobile vehicle bay, but about that time is when it started getting dark, and so I started to make my way back to Larry. While I was there, I began looking at the different recipes and decided I would make a flashlight since it would help to light up the darkness for us. The problem is, when I went back out to look for the quartz, needed to make the glass for it, I couldn't find any. Because it was dark. Yep. Moving on. After I made this sudden, although foreseen discovery, I decided to give up on the quartz and sort of bumble around in the darkness while I waited for the sun to come back up. And this actually worked in my favor. I was eventually able to swim my way over to one of the wreckage sites and found my very first fragment to the sea glide. Now, only 2 to go. And as the sun rises, I finally find that piece of quartz that I needed, and it is all but useless at this point. Not long after that, and I find my first couple pieces of silver for my high-capacity O2 tank. And, a little bit of a swim away, I'm able to find my first bit of cave sulfur. I make it back to Larry and craft up a repair tool and my O2 tank, but oh wait, I can't craft the tank because I need more quartz. Is this going to be a trend? Anyway, one piece of quartz later, and a new tank on my back, and I can now breathe even longer underwater. And with my newfound breath and a glint in my eyes, I go back out to do more exploring and almost instantly run into the final sea glide fragment I need to build it. So, back to Larry once again, and a few moments later, and I have a new toy in my arsenal. And with that said toy in hand, I know where we're going. There's a biome just past the creepvine forest that I believe is called the Red Grass Zone. Don't quote me on that. But in that zone, I can find even more useful fragments to make survival a little bit easier in this world. So, off I went, and now that I have my Sea Glide, it takes almost no time at all to get there and start scanning stuff. Once in the biome, I start hunting for any and all shale outcrops I can find, since they have a chance to contain silver. Silver is one of 2 components I need in order to craft the rebreather. Technically, it's what I need to craft the wiring kit to craft the rebreather, but, you know, potato potato. Night falls, and I eventually find one piece and start looking for another. Until I discover another crash site, and my squirrel brain immediately jumps to scanning stuff. And it's not much longer, and I've got both blueprints for the scanner room and the bioreactor. Nice. A problem I keep running into in this biome is that it's not nearly as shallow as the safe shallows. Obviously. But with having to dive this deep, I'm consistently below 100 meters, and without the rebreather, my oxygen depletes rather quickly, so I have to continuously resurface all the way from 100 meters, which at times was cutting it kinda close. But eventually, the sun starts to rise again, and I find my first laser cutter and sea moth fragments, and close by, the last piece of silver that I need. Heading back down, I find another sea moth fragment, and excitedly start looking for the third, since I'm so close to it now. So I keep looking, and I don't find anything of use up until I find these floating, glowing bulb things. I don't really know what this particular part of the biome is called, but it's pretty. Just a little further past that, and I find my first ruby, a key material used in some of the late game upgrades that we're eventually going to need. I get so excited with this that I decide to try my luck and see if I can't find some diamonds. Until I see it. Yep, I saw it, and I ran. I didn't think they spawned this early in the game, but as you can see, clearly plain as day, it's there. So I ran. For those of you that don't know what that is, it's called a warper. I won't go into what they do or what they are right now, just know that they're terrifying both in action and in their lore. With this scare fresh in my system, I immediately start heading back to Larry to store some stuff away and breathe for a bit. But on the way back, I found the last fragment to the mobile vehicle bay, and that reinstills me with a need for progress. So I swim back down and keep looking for more pieces to the sea moth. And to be honest, I didn't find anything. I was still shook up by the warper, and I really just wanted to get back and make some new gear to make this search a bit easier. So, I finally make it back to Larry and start crafting the rebreather. Notice that I'm currently dying from a lack of water, so I have to go out and catch some bladderfish, craft some water, and finally repair the radio and Larry. Poor guy's just been sitting here waiting on me to take care of him, and I've had the ability to do it since about 20 minutes into this run. God, I'm a terrible friend. While I'm back in the safe shallows, I decide I want to go ahead and make the mobile vehicle bay. So I head back out, grab a few materials, and come back to craft it. Alright, well, now that's crafted, and now I just need the stinking blueprint for the sea- oh. Hey, I found it. While I'm out, I also find the last couple of laser cutter fragments that I need, and finally make my way back to Larry and craft the sea moth. I would have crafted the laser cutter too, but I need diamonds, and those are back near the warper. Dadgummit. But I think with this particular advancement, I'm going to leave this one off here. I want to say that I'm very excited to play this one through with you guys. This is the video game that started my want to become a YouTuber, and I hope you all find the same love for it that I have. I hope you all have enjoyed the video this far, and if you have, why not leave a like? It helps me know that you guys like what I'm doing, and helps me to keep the channel growing. If you think you want to come back and see more, consider subscribing. But that's it for this video, guys. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you again in the next video. Y'all take it easy now.